Yesterday we mentioned regarding Surah Al-Baqarah. So there's different things that are happening in Surah Al-Baqarah, different topics that are happening in Surah Al-Baqarah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we mentioned regarding our aqidah, all of the different aspects of our aqidah mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, the proof of Allah, proof of angels, proof of prophets, proof of the day of judgment. And we mentioned the 5 pillars of Islam, also mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, the different ahkam, personal laws to do with marriage and divorce and iddah and hayd and menstruation. We talked about all of those things. And not only that, we had economics, so debts, financial contracts, witnesses, interest, and so forth. So we covered all of that in Surah Al-Baqarah. And also in Surah Al-Baqarah, which we left off from last time, was regarding the story of Adam. So they got the previous prophets was mentioned as well. So regarding the stories, the history basically, all of the history of the different prophets, also mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. So you mentioned Adam alayhi salam, which is the origin story. And then onwards, also we found the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Yaqub alayhi salam, which we covered as well. So Yaqub alayhi salam regarding all of his children, and Ibrahim and Ismail alayhi salam building of the Kaaba. So we covered these parts as well. Amongst these, there's other stories of other prophets inside of Surah Al-Baqarah. For example, the story of Dawood alayhi salam, David and Goliath, and Dawood alayhi salam and Jalut, and regarding the fighting and having a war with one another. So he mentions here that no matter how small your numbers is, that you will always have tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كَم مِّن فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةً كَثِيرَةً بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. So here, not only you find the different prophets, but amongst Dawood alayhi salam was such where you find that even though he was a small army, even though he got tested, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is checking, the army that's going to go out, are they disciplined enough? Are they obedient? Are they such where now they're going to listen to the leader at that time, the king of that time? Amongst the army was Dawood alayhi salam. And with small numbers and hardly any kind of weaponry, he goes and beats the giant, which is Goliath, and then kills him. And this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works, that you don't need all of the means, rather you need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on your side. On top of that, we have the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. In Sulaiman alayhi salam, we find, example, the relationship with the jinns and so forth. And many people slandered Sulaiman alayhi salam. They lied about Sulaiman alayhi salam, that he was the one that done kufr. He was the one that had black magic, and also, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, centuries later, defended Sulaiman alayhi salam in the Qur'an. I mentioned, وَمَا كَفَرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. This is what happened, that Sulaiman alayhi salam had never done kufr. Sulaiman alayhi salam was not the one that was a disbeliever. Rather, it was the shayateen that done this. It was someone else doing this black magic. It was rather someone else trying to slander and lie about Sulaiman alayhi salam and ruin his reputation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to defend it. And the majority of this surah is to do with the Prophet Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israel, and how many mistakes were done by the Bani Israel. How many successes were done by the Bani Israel. Do we learn from these mistakes? Do we learn from their successes? We find that indeed a wise person is the one who takes heed in other people's mistakes. When you see somebody else's mistakes, they don't come and start to blame them and so forth. Rather say, do you know what, I can stop that. Do you know what, he's doing this wrong. Or he's doing that wrong. Maybe I should do this as well. I also have this habit. So you learn from other people's mistakes, and you learn through history as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, out of all of the Musa alayhi salam and Bani Israel story, that Islam is going to become a superpower very soon. So don't make the same mistakes as the previous nations. Bani Israel also had power. They were also given status. They were also given a certain amount of honor. Yet Islam will also be giving something which is similar. The superpowers against the superpowers of the time, they're going to go and defeat them. So don't make the same mistakes that you are, and so forth. Allah then mentions regarding how they were very arrogant. وَقُولُوا حِطَّةً. When Allah commanded them to go and do hitta, and go in a certain way and enter the village, into the town in a certain way, they said no, and they started to mock it. So they're very arrogant, and they kept questioning again regarding the laws of Allah, just like in Baqarah, just like regarding the cow. Oh, what color should it be? Oh, it should be like this. Oh, it should be like that. And you keep questioning, then it becomes harder for you. So never question deen in that manner. Rather have an open mind in regarding certain things, that you want something, and you want to know something. It's okay to have that student mind. But when it comes to questioning the deen, then this is not, which has caused a lot of the mercy to be taken away from yourselves. Not only that, in Surah Baqarah you find the proofs of Islam and the relationship of Islam with the other faiths as well. So the Christians and the Jews and the Sabi'in, all of these different ones and the pagans. What is the relationship between Islam and these people as well? All saying that they're correct, I'm correct, we're correct, everyone's saying we're correct. But yet, what do we say? We don't say Islam is correct. Rather we say, Bal millata Ibrahim hanifa. Follow the millat of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So just because that is a common factor between all of the pagans, the Jews, the Christians, all of these people had a common factor, and the common factor was Ibrahim alayhi salam. We're saying to everyone, go and follow Ibrahim alayhi salam, the true creed of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and do it in that manner, rather than say don't follow us, because then we're going to be the same as others. No, follow Ibrahim alayhi salam because you believe in Ibrahim alayhi salam and you revere him as well. We also revere him. It talks about regarding the interfaith dialogue. So we have example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses sometimes rationale to try and speak towards the disbelievers, sometimes telling them to think, يتفكرون and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes reminds them of the past. He mentions regarding the Jewish sources as incidents and so forth. See how an Arab knows regarding all of this. I'm going to take the Jewish sources and then I'm going to go and see all of these things, how everything is true. How do I know this? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has got wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he's been given this regarding knowledge. So these people should believe in him. They think that you're better than the rest of them. This is what the Bani Israel used to think, that I am better than this and I am better than that. وَقَالُوا لَن يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا تِلْكَ أَمَانِيُّهُم. This is how they think. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ. But the evidence, show us evidence. This is how Islam thinks. It's not about all of these thinking, I think like this and I think it's going to be like that. No, we say bring your proof. And Islam always says bring your proof. Bring your proof and then we will show you with proofs. And this is how the Islamic way of doing things. Not waham, not kind of thinking, not saying I believe in this, I think it's like this, I think it's like that. This is the proof. It's very important for us to realize. And lastly, he also mentioned regarding the calendar, the moon sighting, all of the وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَهِلَّةِ, regarding the moon, how it happens. So everything happens, how the months happen, how the year happens, and how a calendar comes about. This is also mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. So kind of a summary is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be guided through all of the topics. And section inside of the Qur'an, is hudan lin-nas, is guidance for every single person, not just Muslim but non-Muslim as well. Allah challenges anyone to produce anything like this Qur'an. فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا. If they're not going to do it, they're never going to do it. This is the wonder of the Qur'an in itself. So everything has a crown. Everything has a crown, or an essence, or a pinnacle. And the Qur'an, as in Surah Al-Baqarah, is the crown of the Qur'an. It's the pinnacle of the Qur'an. It's the essence of the Qur'an. It is the longest surah of the Qur'an in itself. And then we learn so many different things from regarding Surah Al-Baqarah and regarding all of its guidance. So this is what we want from it. We want to take as much evidences, we want to take as much lessons from the Qur'an in itself, and Surah Al-Baqarah as well. And we mentioned here that the person that leaves Surah Al-Baqarah, then a lot of things will leave him as well. Mercy will leave him, and then there will be a lot of bad things happening his way. So always, a person is feeling depressed, then read Surah Al-Baqarah. A person is now not feeling correctly, his iman is low, then reading Surah Al-Baqarah. It protects us from the jinn and the shayateen and so forth. So these are certain things, aspects and rewards of Surah Al-Baqarah, and it's called Zahrawain. It is part of the two lamps and the two lights which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi describes regarding Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran. So this is also one of them as well. They hopefully will illuminate the heart and illuminate our lives as well. So keep in touch with Surah Al-Baqarah, especially the lessons of Surah Al-Baqarah. And this is just a small summary of Surah Al-Baqarah. Tomorrow we'll continue with Surah Al-Imran and forth, inshallah. Subhanallah, 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 wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.